Hey guys, what is up? My name is Anna Terry and welcome back to another video. So for today's video, I got a bunch of requests to show my eyeshadow collection. So I have so many like individual eyeshadows. So I'm just going to be showing you all of my eyeshadow palettes in this video just so it doesn't drag on too long. But for each of these palettes that I'm going to show you today, I will be posting a link below in the description so you can go to the website and check out which ones you want and which ones you do not. But for the purpose of this video, I will be trying to review it as well as possible so you don't have to go to the website and review it and look through the comments yourself. I will be trying the best I can to give an honest, crucial review about all of these palettes that I'm going to be showing you today. But if it is your first time seeing one of my videos or visiting my channel, my name is Anna Terry. Please don't forget to like this video, comment below for any other video suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. So since I have so many eyeshadow palettes, I'm only going to be showing you about 10 today. I picked out my most used and most favorite palettes of all. So I'm going to start out with Morphe eyeshadow first. Okay, so one of my favorite palettes is the Morphe 35XO palette. This is one that came out around Valentine's Day, I want to say 2 years ago. But this is the palette. It has tons of rosy pink neutral shades, which is awesome for a mauve-ish kind of look. I also love to use this when I do wedding hair and makeup because most of the bridesmaids pick usually like a pinkish, light pink color, and this palette just can go perfectly with their dresses. I love all of the pinkish shades, and most of these are matte, and there are a little bit of shimmer, which is great because most of my bridesmaids, usually when I do their makeup, they like more of the matte shade, and usually for the glitter shades, they like a more light, and so in this palette, you get a few of those, which complements everything super nicely. So whenever I am traveling, all I have to do is really bring one palette if their color schemes involve pink. So this is a really super handy palette to keep on you when you travel if you do hair and makeup for a living or a side job. Okay, so I'm sure y'all have seen this palette many times in some of my videos, but this next one is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the volume 1. This is my all-time favorite palette. I use this every day on my makeup, and then I also bring this with me when I do hair and makeup for weddings as well, just because it has all of the neutral colors inside. Like, you literally can't go wrong with this palette. If I only had to choose one eyeshadow palette to use for the rest of my life, it would be this Jaclyn Hill palette, just because it has every neutral shade from ranging very super light beige all the way up to like a dark chocolate, and there's even a black in this palette. I should have probably already known that without having to look because I use this when I do my eyeshadow looks, but I have so many palettes it's hard to keep up. But yes, this palette is amazing. I love all of these colors. Although the only difference between this one and the Morphe 35XO palette, this one contains a little bit more of the shimmery tones, but it also has a good balance of the matte. So it's about 50-50 for this palette. So this is a good palette if you're wanting mainly shimmers or mattes, but you have a good balance between both. Okay, so these next two palettes I recently just ordered. I ordered both of these from the Morphe website, and there is a huge sale going on for the 35 shade palettes. The first one is this Lisa Frank one. I have absolutely loved this collection when I was growing up. When I was working at Ulta about a year ago when this came out, I fangirled over this entire collection. They have eyeshadow, I'm pretty sure they have lipsticks, they have eyeliners, they have a whole line of the Lisa Frank makeup. But this palette comes in 3 different editions. They're all limited edition. This one was the one on sale with the tiger print. They had a unicorn and an alien one. And I was going to buy the alien one, but then when I saw that this one was on sale, I was like, why not just spend $9 on the exact same palette? I mean, you're getting the exact same consistency of shades in each palette. So I didn't think it was worth paying $20 more for just the alien or the unicorn. But that's just me. But it's super cute on the inside. Plastic thing just fell out. This is brand new, but it has a mirror on the inside as well as 35 shades. But what I like about this palette is it closes and then it has an extra little layer of protection here so it won't spill out, because speaking of spill out, the second palette that I got in, it kind of came with a shattered shape. So maybe if that one had like an extra layer of protection, it maybe wouldn't have happened, but I mean, anything can happen because it was shipped and handled probably not in the best way. But check out the color palette in this. This is so beautiful. This is probably an eyeshadow palette everybody should have in their collection just because this palette comes with all the colors of the rainbow, and I know the James Charles palette does as well. I used to have that palette, but I gave it away, but that's why I bought this one, because I was needing another palette that had all of the colors of the rainbow just in case anyone wants a funky kind of look that includes greens or maybe blues, because I didn't have any other palettes that have those colors. I have single shades, but I thought it would be very easy and convenient just to have a palette with all of those in one palette. So that is this one, and I cannot wait to use this one. If y'all have any eye makeup suggestions y'all would like to see using these colors, please drop them in the comments below, because I would love to test out this palette. Previously on my YouTube channel I had in high school, I did all kinds of looks. I did literally rainbow looks, I did Valentine's Day looks, I did anything you can think of. So I would love to get started back up on that spectrum of makeup. So if y'all have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. So this is the next palette that I received in the mail from Morphe. I've already had this palette before. This is the Morphe 350 Supernatural Glow palette. I'm actually not sure where I put it, so I had to buy me another one because this is the ultimate palette for all things neutral. The Jaclyn Hill palette is a runner-up to this palette, but if you're looking for just like a straight nude palette, no blues or greens or anything, this would be your go-to palette. So as I opened this up when I got it in, I immediately knew it was shattered because of all of the glitter on the palette. It is missing this top shade right here, which is super sad because I thought this was one of the most prettiest shades in this entire palette. So I contacted Morphe and asked if they could send me a replacement just because of how inconvenient that is, because that was one of my most used shades when I had my other one. But this palette also comes with a good balance of the shimmer shades as well as the matte shades. They do have one pink color right here, which is a fair pink, which is actually really pretty. It complements all of these neutrals very well. But yes, I would say this definitely is the palette you want to bring with you if you are more into the neutral brown kind of eyeshadow wearer like I am. So I would definitely say either this palette or the Jaclyn Hill palette would definitely be one of the only eyeshadow palettes if I could only carry one with me. But the only difference is between this one and that one is the Jaclyn Hill palette has a black shade, and I tend to like that for the smoky eyes, which this one does not, but it has this really dark brown shade down here. So maybe you're interested in that if you don't like going that dark. So I think this palette overall is really nice. So if you also like all these neutral shades, I would say go to Morphe's website ASAP and order this, because they are not staying in stock. As soon as these palettes go on sale, they are getting sold out. I tried to buy like 4 more, but they were already sold out. So if you're seeing this right now, head on to Morphe's website and buy this palette. Okay, so the next palette is another Jaclyn Hill palette. This is just one of the mini ones. This is the Ring the Alarm. She also came out with like, I want to say 4 more versions of these. They have a green version. They have a purple version, which is called Bling Boss. I know they have like a darker black palette, I think, but I had to get this one because this comes with all of the warm, just pretty smoky shades. I've used this maybe a couple of times, but I just love Jaclyn Hill palettes, so I had to pick this one up just because this is very similar to the Jaclyn Hill palette and the colors that I use. So I think I want to pick up all the other ones as well and finish the collection, but I like the consistency of these. This palette comes with 4 shimmer shades and 6 matte shades, so 10 total, which is super nice because the size of this for 10 shades is actually not bad. It can fit right in your purse. Super flat and very convenient if you are traveling and you don't want to carry a full-on huge eyeshadow palette like this, because the bigger the eyeshadow palettes are, unfortunately, they are more likely to break, just like this one did while traveling. But this one right here, the more smaller and compact these suckers are, I feel like they are more safe in your bag for rocky roads. Okay, I don't know if you guessed this, but my next one is also a Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the Jaclyn Hill Divine Neutrals palette, and this one actually just came out recently, very recently. This is another one of those palettes that I really like just the neutral browns for, and this is what the inside looks like. Super, super pretty. This is the palette that my makeup artist used on all of my bridesmaids in my wedding this past June. And it's honestly just the perfect little eyeshadow palette for travel as well. The Jaclyn Hill one, this one is good for travel as well, but this one comes with more of a range of the browns, whereas that one came with more of the oranges and the burnt siennas. But this one goes from a very light shade all the way to a brown shade, but they all stay in the same kind of color range. So you don't have much of a variety, but if you like a neutral eye, then this is definitely the palette to use. All of the shades on the top are matte, and then all of the ones on the bottom are the shimmer shades. But yes, this one is a very close second to my Jaclyn Hill palette. I carry this all the time with me just in case if I need to like touch up my face or touch up an eyeshadow look that I'm wearing, just because my everyday eyeshadow look includes all of these colors. And it's just super nice to keep in the bag with me just because it is skinny and flat. It doesn't take up much room, so that's very convenient. And the packaging is just very nice to touch. It's super smooth. I'm really loving this. Okay, so for the next brand of eyeshadows that I'm going to be talking about today is Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Modern Renaissance palette. It is such a beautiful palette. This also comes with a lot of the neutrals as well as some of the pinks and dark reds. This is what the inside of that one looks like. Also, one thing I really love about these palettes is they come with a double-ended brush. I don't have mine in here just for showing purposes because I didn't want it to fall out, but all of these palettes come with double-sided brushes, so you're basically getting an eyeshadow palette and a brush for the price of just an eyeshadow palette. And I know some of the Anastasia brushes can run a little bit expensive, because I know the eyebrow brush that I have, the double-sided one, it comes with a spoolie as well as a little flat liner. It was about $18 by itself. That's before tax. And so I don't know if they sell individual eyeshadow brushes, but if I had to guess, it would also be $18. So basically, you're paying $42 for a palette as well as a brush, which is a lot cheaper than some eyeshadow palettes out there. The next one by Anastasia Beverly Hills is the Soft Glam palette. This is another one that has more of the neutral shades in it. It has a very, very faint mauvish pink in the right corner down here, but other than that, all of it is very neutral. Also comes with a double-sided brush. It's right here. Super nice quality, actually. I could use this one eyeshadow brush for my entire eyeshadow look if I needed to. One thing I really like about these Anastasia palettes is when you open them up, they have an included mirror, which is super nice because some of the bigger palettes, like the Morphe ones, they don't include a mirror on the inside. So that means you'll have to pack an extra mirror with you if you are traveling with these palettes, which can take up some more room in your makeup bag, which is not necessarily needed if you want to buy these palettes because it comes with a mirror. And these are very super high quality mirrors. I know on some eyeshadow palettes, like cheaper end, lower quality eyeshadow palettes, they have a mirror, but they're kind of like, they have this kind of wave to them where it distorts your face and makes it look like you're in this fun fair at a carnival and just put your face out of proportion. I haven't noticed that about the Anastasia ones. I still haven't taken the mirror cover off of this one, but these are some really high quality mirrors. And also I want to mention the packaging on these. These are so soft. I don't know what made them decide to use this kind of felt packaging, but it's super soft to touch. I think it's actually very attractive to an eyeshadow palette. The only downfall about that is it can get very dirty easily, like if it is in your makeup bag. As you can tell, I don't know if you can, but I have some spots on the top of the palette just from my other brushes or any other makeup touching it, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's only a bigger deal if you are OCD like me, but I mean, it doesn't really matter because all of the shades on the inside, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what's on the outside of your palette. So I'm really sad because I had the Riviera palette, which is the white and blue striped palette. That one is so beautiful. It comes with this super bright pink shade that I am loving. I don't have it with me today. And then another one I have by Anastasia is the Subculture palette, which is the kind of grayish blue eyeshadow palette. That one is also a neutral, but it comes with some more of the yellows and the warmer shades. But I sadly do not have those with me today to show, but I know you can pick them up at TJ Maxx. I was in there earlier and they have both of those. They have the Riviera and then the Subculture for $20, which is such a good deal because these in store are $42 before tax. Okay, so the next palette I have to show is the Tartelette. This is one of the limited edition Tarte eyeshadow palettes that I picked up, I think 2 or 3 years ago while I was working at Ulta. As soon as we put these on the shelf, I had to steal one for myself. Not actually steal it, I just like grabbed it off the shelf and like put it behind the counter so I could buy it at the end of my shift. But yes, this smell, it smells so good. As soon as you open it, you're just filled with this, what is it? Vanilla? It definitely smells like a vanilla cupcake. You are just filled with this vanilla cupcake aroma and it's seducing. I don't know the right word for that. But one thing I really like about this palette is the pans are really big. So you don't have to worry about running out of this eyeshadow anytime soon. I've had this, like I said, for 2 or 3 years, and I've used it almost at every wedding. I take all of these palettes with me, and they've lasted me a long time. Like, I don't even see a dent in these eyeshadows because this consistency goes a long way. A lot of Tarte eyeshadows are very powdery, and so when you get a little on your brush, you have a lot on your brush. So you don't really need to like dig your brush into it just to get the pigment, because as soon as you touch it like very lightly, you have a lot of pigment already on your brush. So that's one thing I like about these Tarte palettes, is a little goes a long way. So that means this palette will last you longer. All of these shades are just so beautiful. I really like this. The only thing I would say is, if I wish this palette had a shade, I wish it would have at least a little darker brown or a black shade, just because since this is a more of a neutral palette, I always have to have my black shades in there just for the under eye or the outer corner of my upper lid. But one of the pros of this is the mirror is super big. It takes up the entire top of this palette, whereas let's say the Jaclyn Hill palette, the mirror only takes up maybe a good half of the palette on the top. It comes with like a little, maybe an inch of space on either side, which I mean isn't a bad thing, but just with this one, you can look at it and get your whole face in it rather than just your eyes, which I think is a plus for any palette, because this is a really high quality mirror as well. I love the size of it, and it's very clear too. It's not one of those cheap mirrors. Okay, so this next palette, this is the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. I have the Naked 1 and then the Urban Decay Heat palette somewhere. I kind of wish I kind of got my crap together before this video, but I haven't posted in a week, so I just decided to wrap up all I have today. I remember when these palettes were so popular that you couldn't even keep them on the shelf, and they would continually be sold out. I think these came out like when I was in high school, and I remember my freshman year, I wanted this palette so bad, and my mom finally got it for me for Christmas, and as you can tell, this shade is almost out. But I still use this palette today, and I think I got this maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it's still lasting like a champ. None of these eyeshadows have decreased in quality over time, which is awesome. Usually you would think maybe with some of the ingredients they have like an expiration date, or not an expiration date per se, maybe just something over time makes the quality go down, but not in these Urban Decay eyeshadows. They all keep their same pigment quality, etc. So all of these come with at least half shimmer shades as well as some matte shades. This one comes with more shimmer than it does matte. There is only 2 matte shades, which is these 2 right here, but that's common in Urban Decay Naked palettes. They do come with more of the shimmer shades, which is not a complaint, because all of their shimmer shades are so highly pigmented that you can see them from a mile away. Let me just do a quick swatch test. I'm going to be taking this shade right here. This is called YDK, and I'm just going to swatch that on my finger and then on my wrist, or my top of my hand. Look at that. It wants to focus on my face. Come on now. There we go. But it just sparkles like no other shimmer eyeshadow I've had before. It's like something in the ingredient that makes it kind of metallic looking, but it is staying on there, and it catches my eye every time I look at it. So that's one thing I really like about the shimmer shades, is when you put them on your eyelid, they will last all day, and you don't have to worry about them transferring. Like when you blink or anything, they will stay in place, which is amazing. As well as the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palettes, these also come with double-sided eyeshadow brushes on the inside as well. But these are a little more expensive than the Anastasia ones. These range for about $54, whereas the Anastasia ones only range from about $42. But I mean, the consistency you're getting for those shimmer shades is actually worth it in the end. So there's no complaints there. These actually are very nice packaging too. The Naked 2 is the only one that comes in this little metal tin packaging, whereas the other ones, I know the Naked 1 comes in this felt, which is like a brown soft felt, and then the Naked 3 palette. Actually, the Naked 3 palette comes in a metal tin package as well. So I think that is an upgrade from this type of packaging, just because it is a little more heavy duty and it has a little snap. You have to snap it to close it, and I think that's a little extra protection, to be honest, because it is a little more bulkier. It is a little heavier just because it is metal, but if you're going to pay that much for eyeshadow, you might as well have it protected, because you don't want these shadows to shatter, because you would be sad like I am about my Morphe one. So really loving all of these palettes so far. Okay, so the last palette I am showing you today, I just did a video on this one about a couple of weeks ago. This is the She Glam Smart Cookie Palette. I got this when I was doing my Shein makeup haul, and this palette actually does not include any shimmer shades. It is a completely all matte color palette, which is nice because some people only like matte shades. I know, like my mom, when she saw me open this palette, she was like, "Ooh, I would like to have that someday," because she does not wear any type of shimmer eyeshadow at all. Normally I don't either, just because it comes off weird on my almond shaped eyes, but Caucasian eyes can pull it off really well. So I mean, I'm gonna have to play around with that and see if I can make it look a little better. But I normally only wear matte shades, so I really am liking this palette just because of that. It comes with all of the shades I would normally use when I do an everyday eyeshadow look, but the only downfall to this one is it also does not have a black, but it is dark enough that it can work in some cases. And also another downfall is this is not actually that pigmented. I know when I did my video on reviewing this, you had to do a little more work for this. You have to apply more layers of this stuff. But I mean, for the price, it's not bad at all, because this was only $8, and $8 for 12 shades is actually a steal, because 12 shades, that's how many shades that this Naked 2 palette comes with, and this was $54, whereas this was $8. Definitely the consistency is down here compared to the Naked palette, but if you're paying $8 for a 12 shadow palette, then I think this is actually worth it if you are wanting a all matte palette. I haven't tried any of the Shein shimmer shades, which I'm kind of on edge about because I did not know how those would apply. Just because I normally don't wear shimmer shades, I didn't want to like test that and have a disaster. So that's why I went with this all matte palette, but it did me more good than bad. So I will keep this in my collection for a good time. We'll see how long this lasts as well. I might come back in 3 years and say that the consistency has gone down, because I've had this one for 7 years, same consistency from when I bought it. Just bought this one, so I'll check back in maybe 7 years if I still have it and update you on how the consistency is then. But those were all the palettes I have to show you guys today. Like I said in the very beginning, I will leave a link to all the palettes in the description below, just in case my review wasn't all that great. I was trying to make this more of a quicker video, just so I wouldn't be talking and ranting for a good 30 minutes like I have in some of my other videos. Just wanted to keep this one simple and short. But if you saw a palette you like and you'd like to check out more details and ingredients and like actual fact checks about it under the review section, feel free. Not gonna hurt my feelings at all, but I would definitely check out that Morphe website right now, because a huge sale is going on as well. On the clearance, you get an additional 40% off all sale items, which is a great deal. But the only downside about that is you have to pay at least $45 for free shipping. So when I bought these two palettes, they were only $19 after tax, but I had to pay like $7 for shipping, which isn't bad because it only came out to $26. And just this Lisa Frank palette by itself at Ulta, if they even sell it at Ulta, they might have discontinued it, but I know on the Morphe website, if you got the, let's say, the Alien or the Unicorn edition of this, it was $30 before tax. So I got both of these palettes for the price of not even one of these. So go check out Morphe's website and get you your palettes now. But that's all I have for this video. If you have any more suggestions of what kind of video you want to see next, please leave that in the description below, because this was a video that was requested in a previous video that I had. So that means I am listening to you guys. I'm not ignoring your comments. I will be happy to do any kind of video that you want to see, because I enjoy these so much. But yeah, this was my eyeshadow collection. Stay tuned for another video, because I sure have a lot in store for you guys. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.